Hey guys, welcome back to another Battlefield 2042 video. A bit rare these days since we're 3 years into its life cycle already, but nonetheless I want to share some last tips with you that I still had on my list and that I hope will be fun for you to try out in game. If you're looking for more tips and guides on 2042, check out the playlist in the info box. There are a ton of videos for you to watch. But now let's get right into this one with first tip, or actually more of a fun fact. You can designate enemy soldiers with the tracer dart and then lock onto them with a rocket launcher. The only thing you need is a friend, since you can't do this on your own. The tracer dart is a gadget of the recon class and is normally used to designate air and ground vehicles so your teammates can lock onto them with all kinds of rocket launchers and get rid of them. But of course you can also use it on other targets like the robot dog ranger or infantry. You just need to aim precisely and really hit them, otherwise your dart will get stuck in a tree or in the ground and your teammate is wasting their rocket. But if it works, it's definitely a fun way to fight an enemy, even though it might not be the most straightforward one. Tip number 2 is also an excellent way to troll your enemies, especially the ones in vehicles, because when you place AT mines or C5 at them and then shoot the explosive with a throwing knife or Falk's red pistol for example, it will show the knife or thread in the kill card of your victim instead of the AT mine or C5. This also works with your primary or secondary weapon of course, and everything else that allows you to trigger the explosives except for the actual trigger, but the knives or thread are always a bit more confusing for the enemy. The C5 and throwing knife combination can be done either with the assault or with recon by yourself, and for the thread and AT mine or thread and C5 you also need a friend to do it. And tip number 3 that is also both hilarious and helpful is that you can kill Dozer through his shield when using the defibrillator of the support class. It's not easy to do since you need to be really close and you have to zap Dozer before he smashes you with the shield, but if your timing is right, it's not only rewarding for you and a good way out of a tricky situation, but you can also be sure that there is a confused Dozer player on the other end of the screen wondering what the hell happened. Other creative ways of killing your enemies are this red pistol or the repair tool, but here you need to catch your opponents unaware to make the most of it. And especially this red pistol is more fun in hardcore mode since the damage it deals is normally not very high and you need 4 or 5 threads for a kill. What you can do though, and I always found this helpful in modes like Breakthrough or Rush, is shoot this red pistol to the ground. The threads will stay there, and when an enemy walks over them they also take damage, which is shown in your HUD, so it basically works like an alert system. And when a friendly walks over them they get healed, which is beneficial as well. Moving on to some more serious tips now, and the first one is that for all weapons you can see their current fire mode in the shape of the crosshair. So when your crosshair is full, you're currently in automatic fire, when its lines are dashed you're on burst fire, and when the top line is missing the weapon is in single fire. And I always found that especially for weapons you can switch from burst to another fire mode. This was pretty helpful to quickly see what I'm actually using right now, instead of having to check in the bottom right of the screen where the HUD is, because the crosshair is always in your line of sight, so that makes it a little bit easier to judge what fire mode you're using. Then 2 tips for everyone who might be struggling with sniping in Battlefield 2042. First of all, when you have a hard time figuring out the bullet drop on distance, just hold the trigger after taking a shot and keep aiming down sight. This will keep your character from repeating or reloading the weapon, and you can easily watch the bullet's trajectory through your scope and adjust your next shot if necessary. If you don't hold the trigger, your character will repeat the weapon, which will move your scope around and make it harder to follow the bullet. And my favorite tip to steady your scope faster when aiming down sight with a sniper, if you follow this channel for a while already, you will definitely know this one. Go to the options, then controller or mouse and keyboard, and on foot, scroll down to zoom, and where it says steady scope, bind your aim down sights button in addition to the already existing one. So for me, I have added my right mouse button here, and this means that when I'm using a sniper rifle, my character will instantly hold breath and steady the scope in the moment I'm aiming down sight, and I don't have to press or hold an additional button. And especially if you like to move a lot or play a bit more aggressive as a sniper, this is really helpful. And tip number 8 is for the minimap, and here specifically the manual zoom, because you can zoom the minimap in and out at any time simply by pressing one button. On PC this is N, on Xbox it should be the select button, and on PlayStation I think it's the touchpad, but you might have to check this in your key bindings. And this will zoom your minimap in 3 stages. The first first one that you normally see is the one for infantry, so the closest zoom. Then you can zoom out to the vehicle version, and then the last one is the aircraft version. And normally the game switches between these zoom stages automatically depending on whether you play infantry or you are in a vehicle, but you can also trigger these zoom stages manually if you want to see more of your surrounding area or less. And I often use this as infantry when I'm on a map or in a situation where I just want to see more of what's going on, but I don't want to open the big map. And you can also adjust these different zoom stages under display and then minimap, and here you can set the different zooms for infantry, vehicles and aircraft. And then tip number 9 is for all the unlucky players who manage to get stuck with their vehicles, and let's be honest, this can happen to the best of us. And in some of those cases, not all of them of course, but in some of them, you can try to get your vehicle unstuck by knifing it or beating it up with whatever melee weapon you have equipped. This will slowly move your vehicle and may eventually free it, depending on the situation you are stuck in. This already helped me a few times, so I hadn't had to abandon our team's precious vehicles, but like I said, it always depends on how stuck it is. Sometimes you can only say goodbye and leave it behind. And the last tip for this video, and again more of a fun fact than an actual tip, because below a video I made a few weeks ago where I was talking about hidden secrets in Battlefield 2042 and that you can pet the robot dog Ranger by standing next to it and holding the interact button, BF Phantom reminded me that you can also make Ranger dance in a similar way. So what you need to do is to command it to position so it stays in one place and doesn't run around, and then instead of standing next to it, you need to crouch and hold the interact button. After a few seconds, Ranger will start to play music, and when he does and you hold the interact button again while you're next to him, he will even start to dance. A neat little detail that I had completely forgotten about, so thanks again to BF Phantom for the reminder and also for discovering these 2 Easter eggs in the first place. And that was it for today. My list of tips for Battlefield 2042 is now empty, but I guess that's alright after 3 years. Let me know in the comments below how many of these things you did know, and if you want to watch more videos like this, be sure to check out the linked playlist. And as always, like and subscribe for more, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. I'm the Catwoman, and you are awesome.